Welcome to the weekly devotional following week 5 in our series, Live to Give. It's a blessing to have been able to share this last week, and hopefully you got to see that, but if not, I would encourage you go back and watch that, and then this time will make a little bit more sense to you. In this game of life, we like to hope for these get-rich-quick moments, right? We would love overnight success or some kind of convenient income that would just come to us. And you play this game and we're hoping for that quick payout. But the reality for so many of us is that life, it's often a slow process. It's things that don't happen overnight. And sometimes those big successful moments don't come. And we have to try to sort through what God is really doing in our lives. Well, that wasn't any different for David in 2 Samuel. And as we looked back at the passage this week, we see David have a pretty significant moment of sacrificial giving. And so I'll just read this passage to you very quickly. The context, if you heard in the sermon, was that David had taken a census, and that was really not what he should have done. And as a result, God punishes the people for it. And so David is making sacrifice to the Lord to stop the plague that God had placed on the land. But this happens. David goes to a man named Araunah. And when he sees him, he says, Araunah says to David, "Let my lord the king take whatever he wishes and offer it up. Here are the oxen for the burnt offering, and here are the threshing sledges and ox yokes for the wood. Your majesty, Araunah gives all this to the king." Araunah also said to him, "May the Lord your God accept you." But the king replied to Araunah, "No, I insist on paying you for it. I will not sacrifice to the Lord my God burnt offerings that cost me nothing." You see, the reality is, as David is going to make this sacrifice, he's realizing that it really does need to cost him something. That he can't offer God somebody else's sacrifice. He can't give to God something that cost him nothing. It's really the same in our worship. We live in a world of wanting overnight success, of wanting convenience over hard work. And the reality is that for worship to cost us nothing, it really asks the question, who's in charge? Because if I want convenience, if I want worship to happen when it's convenient for me or in the place that it's convenient or a convenient amount of time so that I can fit it into my busy schedule, then it seems like perhaps I'm on the throne of my life. But if God's truly in charge, if God is really navigating for me my life, then I've got to ask the question, what is it going to cost me to offer God my worship? You see, it's not paying for my salvation. Jesus did that already, so I don't want to be unclear about that. But when I'm worshiping, it really cannot be a question of how convenient is it. If anything, the pandemic put us online a whole lot more in life. And so we can buy our groceries online and have them delivered. We have these very convenient types of things that come to us. Our worship, however, and I don't just mean when we gather on the weekend, but our worship has to cost us something. See, it's not about convenience. It's about paying the cost of being able to look at worship not as something for me, but as something that I do for God. And so like David understood here in the book of 2 Samuel, our worship has to cost us something. Don't offer up something that somebody else already gave. Let it come out of your heart. Let it come out of your sacrifice. Set aside time for God, significant amounts of it throughout the week, where we can offer Him our worship in both personal times of reflection and corporate times. My prayer for you is that you would not look to your times of worship as how convenient can they be, but you look at those as how meaningful, how sacrificial, and what can I offer God that costs me something? That will really become then an act of true spiritual worship. And so as you discuss with your group or as you ponder on it yourself this week, ask yourself, what is my worship costing me? And I pray that God reveals something to you that will deepen your relationship with Him. God bless you. Have a great week.